Welcome to today's story, The Lost Dog. This is a heartwarming, simple English story perfect for A1 learners, and it's full of everyday words you can use right away. You'll follow a journey of kindness, problem solving, and friendship, all while improving your English step by step. So grab your notebook, listen closely, and let's discover what happens when one little dog gets lost and the big adventure that follows. It was a quiet morning in the small town. The sun was shining, and the air felt fresh. Birds sang in the trees near the houses. Everything seemed peaceful and calm. I was drinking tea by the window. The street outside was almost empty. I saw only one man walking his dog slowly. It looked like a normal day. The sound of birds made me smile. A gentle wind moved the leaves. I thought it would be a slow and easy day. I had no idea something strange was about to happen. Suddenly, I noticed silence from across the street. The usual barking of the neighbor's dog was gone. This was strange because the dog always barked in the morning. I felt curious and a little worried. I put my cup down and opened the window wider. The street looked the same, but it felt different. Something in the air made me feel alert. My eyes kept looking toward the neighbor's yard. The dog's red ball was still in the yard. The gate was slightly open. This was unusual because the gate was always closed. My heart began to beat a little faster. I stepped outside to see better. The neighbor's yard was empty. There was no sign of the dog anywhere. I started to feel concerned. I remembered hearing the dog bark happily just yesterday. It was friendly and playful. It always ran to greet people passing by. Today, there was only silence. The morning no longer felt calm. A strange energy filled the air. My mind started to ask questions. Where could the dog be? I decided to look for clues. If the dog was missing, someone had to find it. I could not just ignore it. This was the start of an unexpected search. I walked to the gate and looked around. The grass was still wet from the morning dew. I saw small paw prints leading away from the yard. They looked fresh. The paw prints were light but clear. They went toward the corner of the street. I followed them slowly. My curiosity grew stronger. A neighbor across the street saw me looking. She waved and came closer. "Is something wrong?" she asked. I told her about the missing dog. She said she had not seen the dog that morning. She looked worried too. The dog was known by everyone in the neighborhood. We all cared about it. Another neighbor came out with his newspaper. He joined the conversation. He also noticed the gate open earlier. No one had seen who opened it. We decided to ask more people nearby. Someone might have seen something. The more we worked together, the better the chance to find the dog. Teamwork felt important. I knocked on the next door. An old man answered slowly. He had not seen the dog but offered to keep an eye out. I thanked him for his help. Asking around felt like the right step. Even small information could help. Each person I spoke to seemed concerned. The whole street felt different now. One neighbor mentioned hearing soft barking early in the morning. It came from the park side. This gave me a possible direction. I felt a little hope. I thanked her and walked toward the park. The paw prints continued in that direction. They were harder to see now. I kept looking carefully. The ground changed from grass to dirt. The prints were still visible. I bent down to check them closely. They matched the dog's size. I felt proud of noticing the paw prints. It felt like a detective game. Every step brought me closer to the truth. My focus grew stronger. As I walked, I noticed small scratches on the sidewalk. They looked like marks from a dog's nails. This was another clue. My excitement returned. I passed a shop on the corner. The shopkeeper was sweeping the front. I asked if he saw the dog. He said he saw it running past about an hour ago. The shopkeeper pointed down the street. It went that way, he said. This matched the paw prints I was following. My heart felt lighter. I thanked him and kept going. The street became quieter again. Only the sound of my steps filled the air. The search felt more serious. The paw prints led to a small alley. It was shaded and cool. I stepped in carefully. I didn't want to scare the dog if it was nearby. The alley smelled like flowers and fresh bread from a bakery. I listened carefully. I thought I heard a faint bark. It was soft but real. My steps became faster. I felt I was getting close. The barking grew a little louder. My hope grew stronger too. The paw prints turned left near the end of the alley. There was a small wooden gate. I pushed it open gently. My eyes searched for movement. Instead of the dog, I saw more prints leading out the other side. This dog was moving a lot. It must have been scared or confused. I followed quickly. The trail led to the park. Children were playing on the swings. I looked around the open space. The dog was still not in sight. I walked near the bushes at the park's edge. The prints stopped for a moment. I saw a piece of red string on the ground. It looked like it came from the dog's collar. This was a strong clue. The dog must have passed here recently. My energy returned. I knew I was on the right track. I asked a man walking his own dog if he had seen a small brown dog with a red collar. He nodded and smiled. Yes, just a few minutes ago, he said. He pointed toward the river path. The river path was quiet and peaceful. I could hear water flowing. I walked carefully, scanning the ground. The paw prints reappeared. I followed them as the sun rose higher. My steps were steady. The search no longer felt slow. Every clue pushed me forward. The air by the river was cooler. The grass was soft under my feet. I saw fresh paw prints in the mud. The dog had definitely come this way. I called the dog's name softly. No answer came back. I called again. Still, only the sound of water replied. I decided to keep moving along the path. Maybe the dog was ahead. I stayed quiet to avoid scaring it. My eyes searched every corner. The prince led me to a small bridge. The wood creaked under my feet. I looked to both sides of the river. Still, no dog. I stopped for a moment to think. I remembered the park and the red string. The dog might be tired and hiding. I had to keep my eyes open. I passed a bench where an old woman was sitting. I asked if she had seen the dog. She said she saw it cross the bridge earlier. She wished me luck. Hearing that gave me a burst of energy. I hurried to follow. The prince continued past the bridge. The search was not over yet. The houses on this side of the river were older. The streets were narrow and quiet. I felt the morning slowly turning into afternoon. I had been searching for hours. Still, I didn't feel like giving up. The dog needed help. I imagined how happy its owner would be. That thought kept me going. I bent down to look at the ground again. The prints were still fresh. I felt like I was very close now. My heart beat faster. I heard a sound behind a fence. It was soft and quick. My ears focused. Could it be the dog? I walked closer to the fence. I heard the sound again. This time it was clearly a bark. My eyes lit up. The fence had a small hole. I knelt down to look inside. Two brown eyes stared back at me. It was the dog. It looked tired but not hurt. Its red collar was missing the string I found earlier. The dog wagged its tail slowly. I felt relief wash over me. I spoke softly to calm it. The dog came closer to the hole. I reached out my hand. It sniffed my fingers and licked them. I knew I had found it, but getting it out would be another challenge. The hole was too small. I stood up and looked for a gate. There was one around the corner. The gate was locked. I called out, and a man came from the house. He was the owner of the yard. I explained about the lost dog. He smiled and opened the gate. The dog ran out happily. I thanked the man for helping. I felt proud and happy. I was still holding the dog gently when I heard footsteps. A tall man with a kind smile walked toward me. He asked if I was looking for the dog. I told him the whole story from the beginning. The man listened carefully and nodded. He said he had seen the dog earlier in the park. He was happy to know the dog was safe. His eyes showed kindness and care. He told me his name was Daniel. He lived a few streets away. He also loved animals and often helped lost pets. I felt lucky to meet him. Daniel offered to help me bring the dog home. He said he knew a faster path. His voice was calm and friendly. I trusted him immediately. We walked together toward the park road. The dog stayed close to me. It seemed to like Daniel as well. This made me feel even better. Daniel asked if the dog had eaten. I said I wasn't sure. He suggested we stop by his home to give the dog water. I agreed because it was a warm day. At his home, Daniel brought out a bowl of water. The dog drank quickly and happily. We both smiled watching it. It was a sweet moment. Daniel also gave the dog a small piece of bread. The dog wagged its tail in joy. I could see it was feeling safe now. That made me happy too. After resting a bit, we prepared to leave again. Daniel led the way through a quiet lane. The dog walked between us. It felt like a small team. We talked about pets we had owned. Daniel told stories about his old dog. His voice was warm and gentle. I enjoyed listening. The dog seemed to enjoy the walk as well. It stopped sometimes to sniff the ground. Daniel laughed and said it was curious. That made the walk feel light and cheerful. We finally reached the main street. Daniel pointed to a small blue house. He said it was the dog's home. My heart jumped with relief. We crossed the street together. The front gate was closed, but the lights were on. Daniel knocked on the door loudly. We waited for an answer. A woman opened the door slowly. Her eyes went wide when she saw the dog. She called its name in surprise. The dog ran into her arms. The woman hugged the dog tightly. Tears filled her eyes. She thanked us again and again. Her voice shook with emotion. Daniel smiled and stepped back. He let the woman have her moment. I felt my heart warm at the scene. It was beautiful to see. The woman told us the dog had been missing since early morning. She had searched everywhere without luck. She was scared something bad had happened. Now she was full of joy. The dog licked her face happily. It made soft, happy sounds. You could see how much they loved each other. It was a pure moment. The woman invited us inside for tea. She wanted to hear how we found the dog. Daniel and I shared the story. She listened with a smile. She laughed when she heard about the paw prints. She said the dog was always good at hiding. We all smiled together. It felt like a small celebration. The tea was warm and sweet. The woman also gave us cookies. We sat around the small table and talked. Time passed quickly. Daniel and I learned the dog's name was Max. It suited him perfectly. Max sat at the woman's feet quietly. He looked peaceful. The woman told us she had owned Max for 5 years. He was her best friend. She said she could not imagine life without him. Her voice was full of love. I felt proud to be part of this happy ending. Daniel smiled too. We both knew we had done something good. It was a nice feeling. Max seemed to sense our kindness. He came to each of us for a pat. His tail wagged gently. It was his way of saying thank you. After tea, the woman walked us to the door. She thanked us again. Daniel wished her and Max well. I waved goodbye. We stepped back onto the street. The air felt lighter now. The sun was still warm. Everything seemed peaceful again. Daniel asked if I wanted to walk home together. I said yes. It felt nice to talk a bit more. He agreed with a smile. On the way, we shared more about ourselves. Daniel worked at the local library. I told him about my small garden. It was a friendly exchange. The streets were calm as we walked. Birds flew across the sky. We could hear children playing in the distance. The day felt calm again. Daniel said he believed in helping others whenever possible. He thought it made the world a better place. I agreed completely. It was something we both valued. We reached my street at last. I thanked Daniel for his help. He said it was no trouble. We said goodbye warmly. As I walked to my house, I felt proud. Helping Max had been the right thing to do. Meeting Daniel had been a gift. I smiled to myself. Inside my home, I sat by the window again. The street looked quiet and safe now. I thought about the morning adventure. It already felt like a memory. I realized that sometimes small choices lead to big moments. Deciding to look for Max had changed my day. It had brought kindness and friendship. That felt special. I also learned the value of teamwork. Without Daniel, the search would have been harder. Together we worked better. It showed the power of helping hands. Max's happy face stayed in my mind. His eyes had been full of trust. That was the best reward. It made everything worth it. I thought about the woman's joy too. Losing something you love is hard. Finding it again is like a dream. I was glad to see her smile. The quiet of the evening came slowly. The streetlights turned on one by one. My heart felt warm and calm. It had been a good day. That night, I wrote about the adventure in my journal. I wanted to remember every detail. The paw prints, the clues, and the happy reunion. All of it mattered. I also wrote about Daniel. It was rare to meet someone so kind. His help had made a big difference. I was thankful for him. Friendship can start in unexpected ways. Sometimes it begins with a shared goal. That is how it began for Daniel and me. I hoped to see him again. The day taught me to pay attention. A small sign, like an open gate, can mean a lot. Curiosity can lead to action. Action can lead to good things. It also taught me patience. The search took time. But we kept going. That is why we found Max. I felt more confident after this experience. I knew I could solve problems. I could talk to strangers for help. I could work as part of a team. Helping others also helps yourself. It fills your heart with joy. It makes you feel useful. That feeling is priceless. I thought about what might have happened if I ignored the open gate. Max might still be lost. The woman might still be sad. I was glad I had acted. That night I slept deeply. My mind was peaceful. My heart was light. I dreamed of happy dogs and sunny streets. The next morning, I saw Daniel again in the park. He was reading a book on a bench. We waved and smiled. It felt like meeting an old friend. We talked about the day before. He said he had also thought about it a lot. He felt happy we had met. It was a good start to the day. We agreed to meet for coffee later that week. It felt natural, like we had known each other longer. The adventure had brought us together. A new friendship had begun. Max's owner sometimes waved from her garden when we passed by. Max would bark happily at us. It was his way of remembering. That always made me smile. Over time, I saw Daniel often. We talked about books, pets, and life. He was always kind and thoughtful. I valued his friendship. This story will stay with me forever. It was about more than a lost dog. It was about kindness, action, and connection. That is what makes life beautiful. Whenever I see paw prints now, I remember Max. I remember the search and the joy. I remember Daniel's help. And I feel thankful. Sometimes, helping once is enough to change a life. That morning changed mine. It gave me a new friend and a new memory. I will never forget it. The lesson is simple. If you see someone in need, help. Even small help can matter. You never know where it might lead. Max's adventure had a happy ending. But it could have been different. I am glad we made the choice to act. Choices can change everything. Life is full of chances to do good. Some are small, some are big. All are important. All can bring joy. So I carry this story with me. It reminds me to be ready. It reminds me to care. And it reminds me that kindness is powerful. Great job listening to and following the story. The more you enjoy stories like this, the more your English will grow naturally. If you liked this video, click subscribe for more easy English stories, give it a thumbs up to support the channel, and share it with friends who are also learning. And don't forget, leave a comment telling me your favorite part of The Lost Dog. I can't wait to read it.